Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on a random dice roller program in SDL3 using C++. When I say random, I don't even actually think that random is like necessary here because dice rollers must actually be random. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen. And guys, last stream I did like work on this code where I did like, let me actually run the code. So I did like display a window up guys, so I get my console here waiting for the window to compile. Okay, so I did get a window and I drew like a bunch of dice PNGs and a scoreboard as well. Guys, I think something did not render properly. There we go. Okay, so I had my scoreboard up here and I had my dices. Today I'm going to be like removing my dices from here. And guys, yeah, I forgot to like change the size from my dice 5. That's it first. Howdy Grinder, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and like get my dice like down here. Okay, if that made any sense, guys. That's it. Hello. Okay, so let's get some /chat up here, guys. If I can't like talk properly, that is because I'm not warmed up yet. That's it. That is because I'm not warmed up just yet. Okay, so let's say something like live exclamation. Okay, let's see. Okay, Sensei is here. Eyes open, back straight. Listen up, people. You showed up again. Most people quit when they get tired. You go live. That already puts you ahead of the version of you that doubted themselves yesterday. Today is not about speed. Today is about control. You're building a dice system, PNG, true texture font, SDL3. This is not toy code. This is the foundation work of real games, real AI systems, real engines. I asked something in Discord server. Honestly, did you? Guys, might actually check that after the stream. That's it. Remember this quote, and yes, I'll credit it. We're here to repeatedly do excellence, then is not an act but a habit by Artist Stoll. Is that how I pronounce it? Okay, going live is the habit, thinking clearly is the skill, finishing the weapon. Okay, now calm your breath, tell me what we're tackling this stream, and we move on with precision. Honestly, this stream I do want to like go over this code here. That said, when I usually do run my code, I do see my dices, but I want to use like a random system that like it generates numbers and all that stuff. Depending on that, it adds my numbers and displays my total on my window. I think that sounded kind of complex, guys. Okay, that said, maybe I'm just gonna go all the way up here to my methods and remove my display dice method because I honestly don't want to display my dice just yet. Although I want to go ahead and display my dice above my scoreboard, like in the center of my scoreboard. So, to do that, let's see. Okay, why don't you claim ChatGPT free offer yet? Honestly, because I prefer, wait, why don't you claim ChatGPT free offer yet? Honestly, I do use the free ChatGPT. Okay, that's it. Let's see. How do I like set their position? So what I want to do right now is set my dice's position. But honestly, before that, I might actually want to go all the way up here to my score graphics, and I want to actually, add a number. Should I create a method for that or like a separate class for my score? I think I could go ahead and create another method. And guys, I am like continuing this code from like last stream because last stream I couldn't like finish this entire code. Okay, that's it. So I might create a void method called something like display, or maybe let's see. Do I want to actually create another class? I could create another class for my randomness. For example, let's scroll all the way down here. Above my main function, I'm gonna go ahead and create another class called something like, I don't know, maybe random. Should I go with something like random dices or like, guys, I'm really bad with like keeping names. What class should I have? So like this class is gonna be in charge of actually working with the randomness type stuff. So I might go with something like a random class. With a prof curly braces. Now inside my class, I don't think I might need any constructors, but I would need something like a public data member. Now let's see, what all data members do I need? Firstly, I could need something like a unsigned seed. There we go, did I spell it correct? Okay, unsigned seed, which is gonna be equal to, okay, did I include random? Hold up guys. Okay, I did include random and chrono, so that's actually good. Now, what was my unsigned seed gonna be equal to? I actually forgot. Hold up guys, maybe I could go with something like, so shift space. Let's see. Okay, what was it? I think I like remember the name. I think the name was something like standard chrono. Okay, so it was something like standard chrono, then okay, I think it was something like steady. It was something steady. Should I go with something like might have to like check the function name, guys. Although I did forget that. That's it. Let's go ahead and control C to copy the code. Let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here because I did like forget the function name. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say, today I want to work with the dice roller program. Okay, just like yesterday, but okay, hold on, let me say something like, so I created a random class, but I forgot the function for my seed, question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, Sensei, focus, eyes on the code. You did one thing right today. You stopped and asked instead of guessing. Good, that's discipline. Now listen carefully. This is a concept gap, not a syntax one. What a seed actually is. No magic, no mysticism. A random engine is not random. It is a very fast math machine that pretends to be random. The seed is just a number that decides where the randomness starts. Same seed, same dice rolls, different seeds, different dice rolls. So we steal a number from the time because time never repeats. The function you forgot, you already used it before. Your brain is just tired. This is the correct idea. In plain language, give me the number or tick since the clock started right now. Okay, in C++ with chrono. Okay, that looks like this conceptually. So standard chrono, steady clock. Okay, I actually forgot the steady clock function. There we go. Okay, so standard chrono steady clock now function dot the time since epoch dot count. That final dot count is the key. Without it, you're holding a duration object, not a number. Why your random class broke? You wrote this. Okay, that line stops mid thought. It's like saying I open a door and then okay, a bunch of hyphens. Finish the sentence. A seed must be a number, not a clock. What your random class should do, not code logic. Okay, your random class should generate the seed on the random engine, give you dice values when asked, not regenerate the seed every frame, not scatter randomness all over the main function, control centralization, clean design, stream movement. I'll tell the viewers, randomness isn't magic, it's math plus time. Once you understand that, you control it instead of fearing it. Okay, I think I see. I was just confused with the function name because like I did not actually memorize this function for some reason. So I go with standard chrono. Let's go with something like steady clock. Steady underscore clock. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with now. Okay, pretty sure this was the function name, guys. All day area therapist, mother maid, song would fit your background music. Honestly, would it? I might actually check that. Although the background music that I do use is like whatchamacallit, from YouTube music, because whatchamacallit, guys, I cannot pronounce right now. Okay, from YouTube music because I do like for copyrights, guys. So is it like copyright free? Okay, let's go with something like time underscore epoch. Was it something like that? Time since epoch. Stop the counts. Okay, perfect. And then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. Okay, why do I get a red underline here? So it says a pointer to a bounce function may be only used to call the function. Okay, I did not add a function. The time since epoch is a function. There we go. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now, once I'm done creating a seed, I gotta go ahead and create an engine as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard MT19937 engine. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna be calling or representing my engine by a local variable called something like engine, which is going to be having a parameter of my seed, ending with a semicolon. Okay, wait, can't I like go with seed? It's a random seed. I have a unsigned seed engine function definition for engine not found. Am I doing this part wrong? Like last time I did not work with randomness. Did I like forget this stuff so quickly? So let's see. So I go with something like standard MT. Maybe I get this slower so you guys can actually see what I'm writing. Oh, it works like that as well. Okay, maybe I get this up in that case. There we go. Okay, let's see. So I go with the standard MT19937's engine. Am I messing something up here? Hold up, guys. If I were to go with Control-A, Control-C again, Let's give some say slash chat GP up here. Let's go edit faces, go with shift enter and say something like, so let's say I feel like I forgot most of the things that comes with the random module. I think that I added my MT19937's engine correctly, but I see a red underline on my engine's local variable. There we go. Okay, let's see. Honestly, I should have practiced a lot with randomness when I first started C++. I honestly didn't have whatchamacallit use for the random module, but I feel like it's really useful now. Sensei mode on. Stop scrolling. Read this slowly. You did not forget random. You forgot how C++ initializes an object. Big difference. This is a class design moment. Pay attention. What the red underline is actually complaining about, this line, is the culprit, MT19937. The problem is not MT19937. The problem is when seed exists. In C++, member variables are initialized in order but not static data members. Okay, but non-static data members initializers cannot readably depend on members. Some compilers allow it, some scream via MSVC loves to scream. Okay, so even though seed is written above engine, the compiler does not promise it's ready when engine seed runs. Does not promise it's ready. Oh, I see. Okay, that's why you see the red underline. This is not randomness. This is object lifetime law. The core rule you just learned. This is important. If one member depends on another, use a constructor. Okay, not optional, not stylistic. It's a law. Okay, what your random class is supposed to represent. Your intent is good. One seed, one engine, create once, use everywhere. That's correct game engine thinking. Proud of you for that, but the engine must be constructed after the seed. So I gotta create a seed and then I gotta create a constructor which has my engine in it. That only happens safely in a constructor. Think of it like this. Mental model, you try to do this, build the engine using the seed while the object is still being born, but the seed is also born. Race condition, compiler panic, red underline. Instead, you must say first create the object, then inside the constructor wire the engine to the seed. I see, so apparently my seed is an object and then inside the constructor wire the engine to the seed. Okay. Streamworthy line, drop this knowledge. Random bugs aren't random, they come from not understanding object lifetime. That's a bar. Quick memory refresh, no code. Random gives you engines and distributions. MT19937 is the engine, the machine. Distribution decides the range, 1/6 for dice. Seeds decides the starting point because the time changes every single time. Engine must live longer than the rolls. Okay, you remembered more than you think. Your fatigue just lied to you. Okay, I guess a quote, guys. The expert has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried, said by Niall Bohr. Is that pronounce the name? Okay, that's it. Now, I do see where I messed up. So, apparently my seed is like an object here, or actually not an object type stuff here, but my engine should be inside a constructor. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like constructor. There we go. Now, inside my constructor, I'm gonna go ahead and create a random constructor. I don't think it might require any parameters, but I will be going with a pair of curly braces. And then let's use the standard MT19937's constructor, which is going to be represented by engine's local variable that consists of my seeds as I'm assuming this is like an object. I don't know what to actually call this. Okay, my seeds is object and as a parameter, and then I end this with a semicolon. Now, here's the thing. Once I'm done creating my constructor, so what I see, prof, there we go. Okay, now once I'm done creating a engine, I gotta go ahead and use the standard, I think it was something like uniform underscore int underscore distribution. This is like a max and min type stuff. I think I spelled it wrong. Uniform distribution. Okay, did I spell it wrong? I'm pretty sure I spelled it wrong, guys. Hold up, maybe I go ahead and remove that part. Okay, maybe I go ahead and delete this. Okay, let's go with something like uniform. There we go. It's uniform int distribution. Let's go ahead and remove this part. Okay. Did I do? Okay, my bad, guys. I forgot. I require parameter of my engineer. No wonder it was showing me a red underline. Or do I argument list of for classes template standard uniform distribution is missing? Huh. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and delete this from here. Would that be something that goes outside my constructor? I mean, it does not actually go outside. Identifier engine is undefined. Okay, argument list for class template standard uniform is missing. Am I like missing something up here? I'm pretty sure this is like how I did back when I actually do this in my main function. It works like this, but it does not apparently work if I do it in my whatchamacallit. Oh, I remember. Okay, my bad, guys. I gotta go ahead and create a local variable up here. Let's go ahead and copy this now, get this inside my constructor. I'm pretty sure this is how we actually do it, don't we? Okay, it says missing a template, expected a semicolon. Argument list for class standard uniform underscore int underscore distribution is missing. How is it missing? What up, guys? Maybe let's go ahead and copy this part. And then let's get sensei/chatgpt up here. Hi, Yashar. Appreciate you joining the stream. Let's go ahead and paste and go with shift enter and say something like sensei ... I feel like... What up, guys? Let me go with something like I feel like I forgot how to add a standard uniform underscore int underscore distribution disk that requires a engine parameter as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, Sensei is slamming the desk right now. Stop. This is a class design. Okay, it's a class design phase plan, but I'm not used to like using randomness in classes. I'm used to using it in the main function. And that's good because it means you're learning the real stuff. You didn't forget random. You forgot what lives where. Let's dissect your class surgically. What you think you wrote versus what you actually wrote. You wrote this inside the constructor. Here's the brutal truth. Those two lines create temporary local variables. They're born, they exist for a blink, the DIE, or they die when the constructor ends. Your random object walks out the constructor with nothing inside it. That's why your brain is screaming, I forgot something. Your instincts are right. Core rule, burn this in your brain. If you want to use something later, it must be a member, not a local variable. I see. So apparently I should have like create this outside my constructor. I mean above my constructor. Constructor initialize the members. They're not the place to store logic. Only local for later use. Okay, why you talk like this, guys? I actually asked that to myself as well. It's kind of funny, honestly. What each piece is supposed to be. Think like an engine programmer, not a tutorial zombie. See, data lives in the object. Engine stateful machines live in the object. Distribution tool also lives in the object. I see. If there are any if any of these disappear after the constructor, your randomness will collapse. I see. Okay, the real reason uniform underscore int underscore distribution confused you. This line is wrong conceptually. Standard uniform underscore int underscore distribution disk engine. Why? Because distributions do not take engines in their constructors, they take ranges. The engine is passed when you roll, not when you build the distribution. Engine is passed when I roll. I see, that actually makes sense. That's the mental model you lost. The correct mental model, no code. Engine equals to the dice shaker, okay. Distribution equals to the dice's shape, 1, 6, 0, 2, etc. Rolling distribution engine. Oh, I see. You don't glue the shaker into the mold, you pour the shake into it. Why this confusion is normal but still unacceptable? Because tutorials hide this behind one-liners. You're now writing your own system, which means lifetime matters. Scope. Okay. Apparently, I want to read this part again. The correct mental model. Engine is the dice shaker. Distribution, the dice shape. Rolling equals to my distribution engine. I think I see. What up, guys? What if I were to just go ahead and create a dist up here? Okay, so this ends when my constructor ends. I want my engine to like generate every random numbers every time my constructor ends, but I don't want my cap to be different. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this from here. What if this were to be a private data member? Let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, so I have standard uniform namespace. Okay, so I do create a dist here. So I create a seed, my engine inherits from my seed, and then my uniform consists of a number cap, which in this case is going to be from 1 to 6. Did I spell distribution wrong? Hold up, guys. Maybe I want to copy the distribution spelling from here. Maybe I spelled this kind of wrong. Let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. Okay, now I'm just going to change this to be something like 1 to 6. Okay, it sounds good. Shut up, guys. That actually does make sense, guys. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Where am I messing up? I'm pretty sure this part is correct. Okay. I know the next part should be something like a integer of rolling, which is going to be equal to my dist with a parentheses of my engine, ending with a semicolon. But my dist is wrong here. Use template symbols. A pair of ankle braces. Use template symbols. Okay, I actually forgot. Let's see. Maybe I go ahead and remove that part. Let's add a pair of ankle braces here. Okay, dist is not template. I see. Okay, where do I actually add the template symbol? Should I add it like right here? Okay. Okay, that part did not seem correct. Hold up, guys. Okay, it says dist is unidentified. Maybe I go with a bunch of control Z's. Okay, let's see. After distribution. Okay, so let me go ahead and delete this part. Then I'm going to go with a pair of ankle braces. Standard uniform int. Okay, list of class templates is missing. What if I go? Should I go with something like dist here? That doesn't seem correct, honestly. Inside my pair of ankle braces. Okay, pair of ankle braces and then dist. Okay, let's go with the pair of... That actually worked. Honestly, how did it work here? Let me actually add a cap of 1 to 6. There we go. Okay, although when I did like actually add this in my main function, like let me actually go ahead and copy this real quick. It apparently works inside of my main function for some reason. Like if I were to go in my main loop right here, maybe I'm just going to be pasting it here for the time being. Let's just say something like random. If I were to paste this here without this, okay, it works in my main loop. What happens if I remove the template? Okay, it does not. So I do need a pair of ankle braces. Okay, capish. Some people are just bullied. Okay, you can just check C++ reference instead of hosting. That actually does make sense. But it works in my main loop, but it does not work in my class. Okay, instead of guessing, that actually does make sense. I did like work with this like I think the other day. Okay, that's it. I think it's different in class. Let's go with something like Control A, Control C, copy that. Let's get Sensei /ChatGPT here. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei, I feel like I messed up again, question mark. Maybe can you tell me the function name that I should use, question mark, because I honestly, let's see something like I honestly have not ever used let's say something like the random module, and also I've used it once only in my main function but never in classes, so I don't know the syntaxes. Okay, let's see. I think it would be like kind of fun to actually get to know it in classes. Sensei takes a deep breath and then points at the screen. Yes, you messed up again, and no, this time it's not small, but relax, this is the exact confusion every engine programmer hits once. You just hit it live. Good content, good pain. The core problem, clear, clean, no code. You're trying to roll random numbers at class definition time. does not work that way. This line is the smoking gun. Integer rolling equals to dist engine. Try to check it yourself instead of asking ChatGPT. You'll learn faster. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. But I do actually ask ChatGPT to like see the reference code type stuff, because I could actually go to the docs, but I feel that's going to take like really long for like getting the same exact answer. That's it. I just actually want to know the syntaxes here. Okay, engine does not exist a member. You created it inside the constructor that makes it a temporary local. Outside the constructor, engine is gone. You're calling randomness before object is alive. Member initializers run before the constructor. So this engine is trying to run before engine exists, before the constructor runs, before reality itself is ready. That's why your editor is screaming the function name you forgot. That is what you asked for. Okay, you're looking for a method, not a variable. I'm looking for... Okay, should that actually go inside a method? The concept you forgot. You store random results, you generate them when needed. The function you should be thinking is conceptually a role. So a role method. Not magically computed as class load, not sitting as member variables. Call when you need a dice roll. Correct random class mental model, no syntax. A proper random class has a seed, a engine, a distribution, and a function. I think I didn't have the function. Okay, you can just Google a specific thing. You don't have to read the whole docs. Honestly, that actually does make sense. I feel like isn't ChatGPT the same as Googling, but I actually might try Googling it. That's it. Dice doesn't exist. Roll, they exist. Rollables. Why your brain is confused, and it's normal because in our main function, you probably did this one seed, engine, distribution, roll all in one place. Now you're separating responsibilities, which means lifetime matter, order matters, constructor are not magic spellbooks. This is real C++, not tutorial C++. Your next move is mandatory. Do not write code yet. Answer this in words. Okay, C++ reference. Honestly, reference does actually make sense, but where do I get like reference when it comes to like the randomness here? Okay, although I think I actually understood where I messed up here. Let's go ahead and copy this. So I create a seed as a public data member. I create my engine inside my constructor because I wanted to change every single time my constructor is being deleted. And then I go ahead and create methods. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create a void method called something like roll with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now this should work inside of my roll method. There we go. Okay, and then I create a integer rolling disk engine. Okay. Should my engine be outside my constructor? Because my disk is being created now here inside my method. But is there something else that I need? Let's see. Identifier engine is undefined. Did I like spell it wrong? Let's copy that. Let's paste it here. Okay, now I can apparently use my constructor. Okay, I mean my construct. This is not like a public data member. Okay, integer rolling equals to dist engine. So the uniform integer underscore distribution, it only works inside of methods. Although now when I create something like a roll, speaking of which, what if I actually copy this part? Hold up guys, this actually might be genius. Instead of having a constructor, what if I go ahead and paste this here? Because my methods run every single iteration as well. Okay, why show off accent? Guys, show off accent is kind of crazy. Okay, that's the name of a website. Google uniform int distribution C++ reference. Okay, let's go with something like uniform. So let's go with something like uniform underscore int underscore distribution reference C++. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let me actually get this out of the way here. Although I feel like I actually do understand this stuff works inside of methods but not inside of classes. Okay, so I include random and then I have declarations. It just says headers include random purpose. Okay, there we go. Oh, there is like a lot of reference. Hold up guys. So I go with my engine here. I have my uniform here as well. And then I go with a for loop. Honestly, I actually see what this... Okay, this actually does make sense. Okay, check this side. Honestly, I might actually look at that off stream as well. Okay, that's it. Now, inside my method, I can actually do all this stuff. That actually makes the whole thing work. Guys, I think this was like the issue that I had from the very beginning. Let me fix my rolling spelling. So, there we go. Okay, and You should always check the documentation to learn. The examples are much better than trying to use ChatGPT. That actually does make sense. Sometimes when like the code gets really hard, I do go over to the docs. For example, when I first started learning the true texture font type stuff, I did like go over the docs type stuff. That said, this is rolling, and now when do I actually want to roll? Rolling is going to be my disk engine. Okay, so I get an engine that rolls random numbers from between 1 to 6. Now I gotta go ahead and add let's say something like maybe I require events as variable here because I will be using event types. My bad guys, I'm going to be requiring a constant SDL underscore events structure, which consists of a events local variable, or the memory address of my events local variable representing it. Now inside my method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which is going to be represented by a keys local variable that is going to be equal to my event variable dot key, which checks if a certain key is being pushed, ending with a semicolon. Now, inside my method, once I'm done getting my key, I'm going to use a if statement to check my current event type. So I'm going to go with something like if my event dot type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if my user is currently pushing a button down, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go ahead and add a switch. I mean, I could use like if statement, but I feel like switches does look a bit cooler. That consists of a keys as variable as a parameter, and then I'm going to add a case. Now for my case 1, I'm going to check if my SDL's key that my user is currently pushing is returned. If it is, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Did I go with like return key types here? I don't think so. Okay, so basically what return does is it like checks if I hit enter on my keyboard. If my user does hit enter, then I want to do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and roll my dice. To roll my dice, I could, let's see. I could do something. How do I randomly roll my dice? I actually don't know that part. Maybe I go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like rolling. So I'm going to be displaying my rollings as value in my console with another insertion operator of, let's say, something like, maybe before rolling, I could go with something like you've rolled. Let's go with something like you've rolled. I'll add another insertion operator of my rolling variable. Okay, with another insertion operator of a standard line ending with a semicolon. Hi doing, Gunhasses, is that your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, hello. Have you tried Wheelang, not Golang already? Honestly, I've rarely heard of Golang. I think like one of you guys last stream or the stream before that did talk about Beelang, where I actually confused her for like Golang. Is that like a new programming language? It does sound kind of fun. Okay, another use of Googling yourself is that you learn other important stuff like why ankle braces is empty, for example, which helps you understand templates better. That actually did make sense. Before you actually like pointed out that I gotta use ankle braces here, I didn't even know that I should have used that. Yeah, I should actually like learn more about that stuff. That's it. Now, once I'm done adding my rolling here, I want to go ahead and let's see. So I have a vector of dice here. Okay, can I like use that for my general use as well? So for every integer, okay, and while my dice is not empty, I want to do something. Let's see. Maybe what happens if I like copy my dice and make it as a a local vector. Hold on guys, let me go ahead and copy this, delete this from here, scroll all the way up. It is somehow new programming language, very interesting. You should try it. Honestly, I might actually try it in that case. That's it. Let's go ahead and paste my vector up here. This is my general vector where I store my stuff in. Okay, so wait, standard string. Okay, so I use a for loop to display all my images on my screen, and then I destroy them as well. Where is it that I use my dice as vector? I don't use it at all, so I might not need it inside my dices class. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's scroll all the way down here. I do actually dice.push back texture. Why do I do this? This stuff doesn't even make sense. Dice.size. I see. Okay. My bad, guys. I might need this private data member, but this is not called dice. It's called dice texture. This is a vector that stores my textures. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that here. Let's paste it here. Let's paste it here. Let's paste it here. And there as well. Let's paste it here as well. Okay, lastly, let's go ahead and paste it here. Okay, perfect. Now, inside my randoms class, I'm gonna go ahead and create another vector. I'm gonna create a standard vector with a prof anchor braces called something like, I don't know, so okay, let's go with that only consists of integers. I'm gonna call it something like dice, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done rolling a dice, I'm gonna go ahead and go with something like my dice's vector dot the push underscore back function. Let's say I want to push back my rolling, ending with a semicolon. And then I want to go ahead and clear my rolling. So I'm going to go with something like rolling dot the clear function, ending with a semicolon. Did I spell it wrong? ROLLING. Is there like a different function for this? Expression must have a type, must have a class type, but it has a type integer, so I cannot clear integers. Is there something like, how do I actually clear it? Dot empty? I don't think we use empty to check if our vector is empty. This is not like a vector stuff that's being stored in here. Is this going to change every single iteration? I think that's why I can actually delete it. That's it. Now once I'm done pushing my rollings value inside my vector, I'm gonna go ahead and break, because we honestly do break when it comes to classes. Okay, now that I'm done with this, I want to go ahead and to test it out. So I could go ahead and create a random object. So let's go ahead and create a object for my randoms class. I'm going to call it something like random that does not require any kind of parameters, ending with a semicolon. Now I scroll all the way down here inside my, let's say something like event loop. I'm going to go ahead and go with something like random.roll. Okay, I'm going to use my roll method that does require parameter, which is going to be of my event variable, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So, I get my console here and my window here. It says, this is my scoreboard. Now, if I were to hit something like, hold up guys, let's get this here. If I were to hit enter, you rolled a 2. If I hit enter, you rolled a 2 again. Was that pure luck that I rolled a 2? It just says I've rolled a 2, which does not change. Let's fix that. So let's scroll all the way up here. So this is going to be my rolling. I want it to change every single time I roll something. How do I do that? Let's see. Dice dot push back. I want to clear the value of my dice as well, to be honest. Maybe I go ahead and every time I hit enter, this displays on my console. Maybe, let's see. So what if I how do I like clear my value from here? Okay, my rolling is going to be set to 0 every single frame. Oh, I see. What if I go with something like rolling is going to be equal to 0, ending with a semicolon, which means my variable does not have anything set to it. Actually, it has 0 set to it. I don't think this is going to work, but I feel it is like worth a try real quick. Let's get my window here. There we go. Okay, now if I did a bunch of enters, I keep rolling the same exact number. Okay, and guys, I'm sure that it's not just luck that I roll the same exact numbers. So let's go ahead and remove this. Let's go with Control A, Control C, copy that. Let's get some /chat up here. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say, I feel like I did something. Actually, I feel like I did the roll method correct, but I roll the same number every time. Is it because I did not clear my rolling variable question mark? Should I convert it to be a string? It updates every time, but the new value is the same as the old value. I see. Okay, that's it. Sensei slams the desk. Guys, why is Sensei talking so slow here? Okay, I guess I drink some water while the chat is actually loading up here. Oh, it actually did load. Hold up, guys, let me drink some water. Kind of dehydrated. Okay, No, stop. Don't blame the variable, and absolutely do not turn numbers into strings to fix the logic. This is a classic randomness mistake, and I'm glad you hit it now instead of 6 months later. Why you keep rolling the same number? The real reason you're reseeding the random engine every time you press enter. Read this slowly. Inside the roll method, you do this every single call. You create a new engine. Okay, so I generate a new number from my engine. Seed with the same seed. I see. In that case, what if I were to actually copy my seed from here? Let's go ahead and copy that and paste my seed here. Okay, this should actually work if I did Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Because now I have a different seed. I get my console here and I get my window here. Okay, let's see if it works with like a different seed type stuff. There we go. If I did enter, there we go. Guys, it was the seeds all along. Now with different seeds, I have different numbers. You need to set a different seed. You could use the time as a seed. That actually does make sense. Okay, so, excuse me guys, before I had the same seed. Now I see what the seeds actually do. So if I want like a static games for like maybe all players to experience the same kind of randomness that one person went through, then I use the same speed. If I want complete randomness, then I use different speeds. So my speed method goes, my speed local variable goes inside of my roll method that changes every single iteration. So I've never got the same speed because my time changes every time as well. That makes a lot of sense, guys. Okay, I think I see. Now, once I'm done actually displaying my whatever I type on my console, I want to actually display it on my window as well, so my player can actually see that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and create another void method called something like display roll on window. So I'm gonna go ahead and display my roll on my window. This method is going to be requiring a SDL underscore renderers this parameter, which is going to be actually renders the structure that's going to be represented by a renders as local variable, and then maybe something like a floating point of scale. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my display roll on Windows' method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and maybe create a texture. So I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore texture, which is going to be represented by a roll text textures as pointer, okay, ending with a semicolon. Actually, speaking of which, guys, hold up, before I actually go with something like my render and my float, since this is a text, I'm gonna be adding something like a TDF underscore fonts structure, which is going to be represented by a fonts local variable. Again, hiding HHHH, I appreciate you joining the stream. Hiding Ryan, I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, that's it. Now, inside my method, I'm gonna firstly go ahead and create a SDL underscore colors is structure, which is going to be represented by a colors is local variable, which is going to be equal to something like 000255. That is the RGBA value for like black color, and the 255 is alpha / opacity, how transparent or not transparent my color to be. In this case, I don't want my black to be transparent at all. Now I go ahead and create a texture, so actually a surface. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore surfaces structure, which is going to be represented by a surface's local variable. Let's go with something like surface. That is going to be equal to the TDF underscore render text underscore blended function. Now my TDF underscore render text blended function does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be my font variable. The second parameter is going to be my text. Now I don't actually have a text till now. So smart, guys. I think I'm the complete opposite. I'm still like learning in progress. That's let's see. Now basically my text is going to be my rolling variable here. Okay, here's the thing for my rolling variable. I think everything in here, let's go ahead and copy that. So, maybe everything in here is going to go inside of my method here because I still need to have my random engine up here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and delete these from here. I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my if statement and paste this here. Okay, I mean, this is going to be something my role method. Now, I require events as parameter. I require SDL underscore render the structure, which is going to be representing a renders as local variable. Okay, actually it renders as pointer. Then I go with something like a floating point of scale, and lastly I'm going to be needing something like a TDF underscore fonts as structure, which is going to be representing a fonts as local variable. Now I go ahead and delete my void method from here. The reason I have my my one role method even having me drawing my role on my window is because I do need my this engine right here. Although it would like be a different case if my engine was like if my seed was okay guys, this part is kind of confusing to explain honestly. Okay, that said, the reason I need my I gotta draw this inside of my method here is because I need my rolling variable, but I cannot have my dist engine outside my roles method up here because my seed and my MT19937's engine is inside my roles method, if that makes any sense guys. Okay, now basically I'm just going to be displaying my role on my window. To do that, I have these parameters up here. The first is going to be font. The second is going to be a length parameter. Actually, not a length parameter. It's going to be a constant character of text parameter. I want to go ahead and convert my rolling to be a text. Yo, bro, how did your master? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, to convert my rolling to be text, let's see what happens. I'm a big fan. Honestly, I appreciate your FM, guys. That actually means the world to me. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go with something like my rolling dot standard string. Hold up guys, I forgot the function names. I think it was something like standard to string. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard to underscore string with a pair of parentheses. Rolling, this is gonna be my rolling variable. I convert my rolling to be a string, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my rollings variable up here. Dot the C underscore strings function. Now I convert my rolling to be a C string. Why do I have a red underline? Expression must have class type, but it has a type of integer. Didn't I use a standard to string up here? Am I missing something after I use standard to string? Maybe I scroll all the way up here because I'm very sure I use standard to string somewhere up here as well. I have a score text, so standard to string total. Okay, and then I go with something like total. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's go with something like before I actually convert this, I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard strings variable called something like rolling text that is gonna be equal to my standard to string rolling. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add my rolling text's string here and convert it to be a constant string. Okay, first use standard to string. I see for seed you can use srand null in main function and random to generate seed. I see that actually does make sense. Then use C string. That actually does make sense. Google passing by value versus passing by reference. That's really important. Honestly, I did like work with that. Passing by value actually gives us a copy type stuff versus passing by reference gives us like control to the actual variable or the actual parameter in there. Okay, as C string only works on standard string, that actually does make sense. What are you trying to do? Honestly, I'm trying to like make a a dice roller program where I do get random rolls every time I hit enter, but I want to display those numbers on my window as well. Okay, the third parameter is going to be length that I don't have, and the fourth parameter is going to be color. Then I end my surface with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done creating a surface, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement that checks if my surface was created properly. So I'm gonna go with something like maybe I go with something like roll text surface. Let's go with something like roll text surface. Okay, and then I might copy that just to save time, paste it here. If my roll text surface was created properly, then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna use the SDL underscore textures structure, which consists of something like roll text textures is local variable representing it, that is going to be equal to the SDL underscore create texture from surfaces function. So I create my texture from my surface. Now my create texture from surface requires two parameters. The first parameter is going to be my renderer. The second parameter is going to be my surface. And then I end my texture with a semicolon. Actually, my function with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see. Did I spell text wrong? I spelled it. There we go. Rolling text texture. There we go. Okay, now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Let's say I want to go ahead and, I don't know, maybe get the width and height of my texture, because I don't want to use magic numbers for like my rect that's going to like stretch my texture up. I want to get its original size, so I'm going to create a floating point of textures as width and textures as height, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I have these two variables, I'm going to use the SDL underscore get texture sizes function. This function gets me my textures as size. This function does require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be my texture, which is my roll text texture. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures as width, and the memory address of my textures as height, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I gotta go ahead and create a rect as well. So I might create something like a SDL underscore frex structure, which is going to be consisting of a rex's local variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now let's get to filling a few parameters. I'm gonna go with something like rect.x-axis equals to something like 100, ending with a semicolon. Rect.y-axis equals to something like 100 as well, ending with a semicolon. Rect.width in this case is going to be equal to my textures as width multiplied by my scale variable, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, my rex's height is going to be equal to my textures as height multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it for this part. Once I'm done with this, and once I'm done getting my textures as width and height, I do want to draw my texture or like display it on my window. Okay, you wrote Z instead of X. Guys, you guys have like really keen eyes. I really like take my sweet time to actually like realize if I get spelling mistakes type stuff. That's it. Now let me go ahead and use the SDL underscore render textures as function. This function is going to be requiring a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be my renderer. The second parameter is going to be my texture. What up, guys? Let's go ahead and copy that. So let's go ahead and paste it here. And the third parameter is going to be my null PDR, which is a placeholder for like pointers, because my third parameter was going to be a source rect. I did not create a source rect, so I add a placeholder for my source rect as pointer. The fourth parameter is going to be my direction rect, which in this case is going to be the memory address of my rect's local variable. This is a pointer as well, so I go with the address of operator here, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done displaying my text on my window, I want to go ahead and, let's say, destroy my texture, because apparently what we do create, we got to destroy as well. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore destroy. There we go. I think I spelled destroy correct. There we go, destroy texture. What up, guys? Let's go with something like destroy textures as function, which does require parameter of my texture, ending with a semicolon. Then outside my if statement, I'm going to destroy my surface as well, because I did create a surface. So I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore destroy surfaces function, which does require my surfaces parameter, which in this case is going to be my roll text surface. Okay, perfect. Then I ended with a semicolon. Now, let's scroll all the way down here and fill in a few parameters for my roll method. I require a render parameter, a scale parameter, and a font parameter. So I'm going to go ahead and add a render parameter, a scale parameter, which in this case is going to be something like 0.8, which is 80% of its original size, and a font. I did not create a font. So under my game variables, I'm going to add a comment that says something like load fonts. Maybe I go with fonts I think font sounds kind of good, guys. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the TDF underscore fonts structure, which consists of a font's local variable representing it, that is going to be equal to my TDF underscore open fonts function. My TDF underscore open fonts function requires two parameters. The first parameter is going to be the file path of my font, which in this case, it's going to be something like font slash open sans, let's go with something like open sans hyphen italic dot tdf, and the size is going to be 24. The size honestly isn't that relevant because I did like actually explicitly get my scale up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the fonts variable here. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Hiding Victor, I appreciate you joining the stream. So I get my console here and I get my window up here. I hope you guys can like see my console. There we go. Okay, now if I did something like enter, where's my font? Did I like set the position somewhere wrong? Let's go with enter. Okay, so I do get random dice rolls, but I do not see my numbers being displayed on my window. Let's see. Okay, there are like few reasons that could happen. The first one could be that I'm destroying my font before it actually renders on my window. Okay, I added x-axis, I added y-axis, so that's not the issue here. I added a color, okay, so that might not be the issue as well. My rolling, I don't know much about my rolling. Could that actually be the issue? Okay, because this part works correctly. Next up, maybe I go with something like a standard string of rolling text. This should actually display it on my window as well. Oh, I see. Okay, this entire content, let's go ahead and copy this part. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that and delete it from here. This entire thing goes inside of my return up here because I did not explicitly like have a condition that displays it on my window type stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste it here. That was a long code. Okay, so I push that inside my vector, then I do all this stuff. Lastly, where my case starts, I gotta go ahead and add a break as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a break here now. There we go, let's go ahead and add a break, ending with a semicolon. Now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, I should be seeing my textures on my windows. So I get my console here, I get my window here. Okay, let's get my console a bit out there. If I hit enter, I don't see it on my window. I want to learn coding, bro. How do I start? Honestly, I would like recommend you guys to like start from the very basics, the structure activated. I would recommend you guys to like start from the very basics and like have a good roadmap so you guys actually do know what to learn first, second, third, and fourth. And I do actually have that roadmap. If you guys do want the roadmap that I use for like my C++ learning, you guys could like mention me on my Discord server because like I remember someone yesterday did give me, I don't remember if it's still in the C++ chat, but you guys could like actually check that. Okay, that's it. Let's see. When I click return, I do all this stuff. Okay, so I display my stuff on my console. That's the part that works. But displaying it on my window is something that does not work. Okay, why could that be? Why would that be? Am I missing something? Let's see. I like have all the parameters that I might need, like my render, my scale, my font. Could it be that I loaded the wrong font? Hold up, guys. So let's see. Fonts open / italic.tdf. Let's add a if statement here. So I'm gonna go with something like if a parentheses. Let's go with something like if a parentheses. Let's say something like if not font, if my font was not created properly. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna add a standard C error, display myself an error text that says something like loading font error, and then I'm gonna go with another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. So I'm gonna use the SDL_get errors as function with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm gonna return one saying something is wrong with this block of code. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see if it's my font. Okay, so it's not my font. Alright guys, let's get my console up here. Let's get my window up here. There we go. Okay, if I were to hit something like enter, I get my console outputs, but I do not get my console inputs. Actually, I do not get my stuff on my window. Okay, hiding long story. I appreciate you joining the stream. So what do we actually do if we don't get in our window? Let me actually think really hard, guys. Hold up, maybe let me hydrate my lips up real quick. Could it be my color? My color is black, so I should be seeing it on my white window. Unless, hold on guys, wait. If I hit control, let me actually change the color to be something like brown. because my window does have like a few black outlines and everything. Is it like it's blended there? Mm, okay, wait, before I actually do that, I want to check something. When I display my stuff on my window, I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like displayed on window with a / new line ending with a semicolon. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here. What? Excuse me, guys. What are you doing today? Honestly, I'm continuing what I did yesterday. Yesterday, I was like working on a dice roller program. Today, I am like continuing that. I like working on that as well. But this time, I want to display my stuff on my window. It says displayed on window, so it is. I don't think it's actually being displayed on window. It might be written somewhere up here. What up, guys? Bro, as a noob, where to start from? Create a pro level app. Honestly, if you're like a really beginner, I would like recommend you to like actually work with a roadmap type stuff and like learn the real basics, like what variables do, how to like actually typecast stuff, what are like pointers and all that stuff. I don't remember like every single concept in detail, but if you guys do want my roadmap that I did use when I started as an absolute beginner in C++, you guys could actually like watch my previous streams or like join my Discord and like ask me for the roadmap. I think it's still in the C++ chat. You guys could like fact check me on that. That said, maybe I change my color to something like maybe 255 and so RGB. So my text is going to be green right now. Okay, let's get my window here. Bro, but what are you doing? How? Okay, right now I am actually like working on my dice roller program. So like I have my window here. When I hit enter on my console, I get a random number that is being rolled with my dice, but I want to display that on my window. Apparently that's not happening. So let's see, maybe I could go with something like Control C, copy that. Thank you, definitely gonna sub to you. I appreciate you, Shanu, guys. That actually means the world to me. Okay, let's get some /ChatGPT up here. Now guys, finally I got my second question. Let's say something like, let's say I did get a random number that is being displayed every single time. Let's go with something like every single time. Although I do have a question. I can't get it to be displayed on my window, ... Okay. Hey man, I've done sudo rm rf to my Linux machine, not in VM, and no, there is no important data. I see. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, that said, since they stare silent, then slams reality into code. The random number is working. Your brain is working. Your rendering logic is not. This is not random problem anymore. This is how SDL renders frame, and this is core game dev lesson. Why the text does not stay on the screen? You're drawing the text. I think I know, guys. It might be a bit stupid to like. Okay, the reason it's not actually displaying on the screen, I like when I usually ask questions, I feel like that's when I get all the answers before like even seeing the whole thing. Apparently, the reason I don't see my text on my screen is because I have everything inside of my events loop and not inside of my graphics. So my text is being displayed, but for a split second, if that makes any sense. If I were to paste it on my graphics, hit Control S to save the code and run the command, it should be working here. Okay, so I get my window here and my console here. If I were to hit something like enter, I don't see anything. Huh. That's kind of strange, guys. I should be seeing stuff here. Okay, which US state are you currently located? Guys, saying that is actually kind of crazy. Although that said, I do like stop avoid saying you guys where I'm from for like safety reasons type stuff. That said, let's read the whole thing here. Why the text does not stay on the screen? You're drawing the text inside the events loop. Let that sink in. SDL works like this. Clear a screen, draw everything you want visible. This frame present repeats 60 times per frame, but you're doing this, press enter. When your text once, screen is clear, text is gone. That is the thing. That's the reason I like two different methods. Okay, correctly converted numbers. This is not beginner sloppiness. This is architecture. Okay, why do a random project? You're not going by a roadmap or something? Honestly, I feel like my roadmap is like by complete basics type stuff, like the basics of SDL, but I haven't like completed my roadmap just yet. I don't like have a specific roadmap for SDL3, but I am actually working on creating that stuff. That's the reason I am like going on a project where like what you may call it, I work with randomness is because I think like knowing the concept of how to use like the random module and all that stuff, it's gonna be really useful when I'm gonna be like what you may call it, working on my final game series, because I do want a tint of like randomness depending on what my AI responds. If that makes any sense, guys. I feel like I'm really bad at phrasing right now. Okay, what must change? No code yet. Your roll function should, okay, detect the key, generate the number, store the result somewhere permanent. Then every frame your main loop should render the stored numbers, do not recreate it. Okay, think like a game engine. Log this in. A game loop is a heartbeat. If you don't redraw something every beat, it does not exist. Events are sparks, rendering is breathing. You've sparked, but you've never breathed. Okay, your next task, answer this in words. Guys, funny, I'm struggling to render and rectangle in GLFW right now. Guys, actually, what a coincidence. That said, whatchamacallit, does sound kind of cool though. I do gotta like whatchamacallit, work with like different shapes as well. That's let's see. Think like a game engine. Log this in. A game loop is heartbeat. If you don't redraw something every beat, it does not exist, and I cannot redraw something every beat inside of my event loop. Okay, bro, gonna join your Discord soon. Honestly, I appreciate your channel, guys. That actually means the world to me. That's let's see. Okay, I do know exactly where I'm messing up here. The thing is, I'm struggling on how do I fix that part. So, my event loop, this is like a case. This should go inside of my event loop. But my drawing stuff, this part is absolutely correct as well. But I don't have to add this inside my event loop because that's gonna mess everything up. I need a different method for this. But my method won't be having my roles in it. Okay, there might be one way to like fix this part if I don't actually use my event loop at all. So I might actually remove this part from here. Before I do that, let's go ahead and copy this. Let me go ahead and copy all this here. Maybe I copy my dash.pushback as well. Okay, let's go ahead and copy everything till here. Let's delete everything. So there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and remove my entire if statement from here. Let's go ahead and paste this here. There we go. Now, I won't be displaying anything on console, but everything will be displayed on my window type stuff. So, if I were to hit something like, remove my event variable as a parameter, because I won't be needing that anymore. Okay, now, if I hit Control S to save the code, let's scroll all the way down here. Let's remove my event variable from here as well. Let's hit Control S to save the code and run the command. This should work. Okay, so let's get my console here and my window here. Guys, my number is like, it's generating like really quick. At least I see some progress of my number actually beating up here. But I want it to only beat when I hit, whatchamacallit, when I click enter. For that, I do need a event loop. For that, it must go inside my event variable. I remember doing this project using Tinker. Do you know it? Do you know this? Honestly, whatchamacallit, I did not actually like whatchamacallit work with Tinker, but this, it does sound kind of cool, like working with like the random dice rolling program, because I feel like if a game does have like a spark of randomness, it does make it like really fun to use. That said, let's maybe, what up guys, I think I actually figured out what to do here. Let's hit a bunch of Control Z's. There we go. Okay guys, I actually think I understood what to do here. So what if I were to like copy my integer of rolling variable and then paste it as a private data member here, which is gonna initially be equal to 0. And then I'm gonna have something like an integer of total variable as well. That is going to be something like 0 ending with a semicolon. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do something here. Instead of going with integer rolling, I'm just gonna go with something like rolling. If I do that, then not only I get my rollings variable there, it changes every single frame as well. Okay, it's like Pie Games. That actually sounds kind of fun, guys. Pie Games was really fun. That's let's see. Now I go ahead and copy everything from here. Let's go ahead and copy that. Okay, and then let's delete everything from here. What up guys, my OBS is reconnecting. There we go. Guys, that actually does make sense. Why do you want the random text when you can actually have the random rolling dice? I did not actually think of that. I could have just displayed my random rolling dice. I mean, I might actually do both because like this was kind of fun as well because I did like struggle some figuring this out, so I feel like I did learn a lot from this part as well. That said, I want to now display my dice on my window, so I'm gonna go with something like display dice text on a window. There we go. Okay, with a pair of parentheses, that does require a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be a SDL underscore renders a structure, which consists of a renders is local variable. The second parameter is going to be a floating point of scale. The third parameter is going to be a font. Okay, then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my method, I'm firstly going to go ahead and paste all this. There we go. So I create a standard string rolling. Okay. And then I go ahead and create a color. I create a surface texture, all that stuff. Okay, now here's the thing. Every time I want to change this is when I do that stuff. Okay, perfect. If I did Control S to save the code. Actually, before I save the code, my bad guys, I gotta use my method as well. Let's scroll all the way down here. Let's copy my random roll. Delete that from there. Paste that inside my events loop. And I'm gonna do something like my random.d. So let's go with something like random.d. Okay, hold up guys, let's go with shift space, display dice on window. This does require parameter of my renderer, of my scale, which is going to be something like, maybe something like 1.5. And then it's going to be requiring a font, which is going to be my font's local variable, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Fix your accent, bro guys, fix your accent is kind of crazy. That's it, my roll starts with, let's say something like 2. Why does it change so quick? I only want to change it when I hit something like... Oh, I see. Why does it change on its own? Guys, something is not something in here. Destructor activated. Okay, when I hit exit, my destructor deletes everything. That said, even though it is kind of working right now, I feel something is still messed up. That is my role. I display my color. Firstly, I want to get my y-axis a bit lower. Let's go with something like 0. Okay, maybe I'm going to leave it to like 100 for the time being. That said, I know what's messed up. Only when I hit enter, my standard console output is being run. But my engines are being run every single time. What if I were to go ahead and copy my engines from here, paste it right here. Let's go ahead and paste it here. The only time I want my engine to run is when I hit enter. Okay. Hi, would you classify yourself as someone who's more recently started coding or have been programming all your life? I would say that I've like recently started programming because I have been like programming for like the past 5 months or like maybe like 190-ish days right now. Guys, I think that part actually fixed it. I go ahead and start at 0 if I were to hit something like enter. Alright, it worked guys. All I had to do was get my engine inside of my loop. Let's go ahead. If I spam, it spams. Perfect. I want to add a cooldown as well. That's it guys. Before I add a cooldown, hold up. I do want to use the restroom real quick because I have been drinking a lot of water / coffee. That's let me actually mute myself and go to my bread back. There we go. Alright guys, give me like about 1-ish minute. I'm going to be right back real soon. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, I hope I wasn't gone for like really long, guys. Let's see. Okay, wow, how you've made so much progress in a short amount of time. Are you vibe coding right now or building everything yourself? Honestly, I am like building everything myself. That's it, but I do have a few questions for like new parts. I do like ask Sensei slash chat GPT, but mostly I do like to use the logic that I've learned like before and like implement that stuff in like what I'm working right now. Make sure vibe and building something. Oh, that actually makes perfectly sense, guys. Okay, that's let's see. Once I'm done with this, I did actually display my text on my window, but I want to change that now. Instead of text, I want to display my PNGs on my window. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete all this from here. I know it might seem like a waste of time, guys. Probably is, honestly. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this part. Now, I want to go ahead and display my images on my window. Here's the thing that comes with images. Let's see. For my images, firstly, I have 6 PNGs. So depending on the PNGs, I might actually create a void method. Wait, let's go with a bunch of control Z's. Even though I don't need any of those, I do need my method's name. Okay, so I do have my method. Let's go with control shift C. Now, inside my method, to display my images, I might go with something like a for loop for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is less than 6. I'm gonna do something. I is gonna be 1 here. I'm gonna go ahead and increment my I by 1. Then I go with the prof curly braces. Okay, 6 because like I have 6 dices. Okay, now let's see. So I might go with something like I want to display my textures on my window. So should I create my whole for loop, my entire displaying stuff inside my for loop? Maybe I could. So I might go with something like SDL underscore textures as structure, which is going to be. Oh wait, hold up, guys. Maybe what if I go ahead and copy my dice texture here and make it a local vector all the way up here? Because this is the place where I actually store my dices, if that makes any sense. So I have my dices up here. Wait, I already display my dice up here. Like, is there even like... Hold up, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and copy my for loop from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part. This comes inside of a constructor. So I gotta go ahead and create a constructor for my file paths. Why a loop? Honestly, because I have 6 separate textures and I don't actually wanna use those textures or like use what like have 6 different textures spawn every time. I wanna use a for loop to like get my textures as file paths. Okay, so this is just for my events. I mean, inside my dices class, I already have everything here. Maybe I want to go ahead and copy my roles and my totals as variable. Let's copy these 3. Make them as local variables as well right here. Okay, then I scroll all the way down here to... Okay, let's go ahead and remove this method. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and copy my random class here. Delete this class from here and paste it above my dices class. All the way here. Okay, so I have a bunch of local variables. I'm going to be working with my scores later on. That said, let's see. I have my dices class. Now, depending on my seed, should I make my seed local as well? Maybe I could actually. Let's go ahead and copy my unsigned seed. I'm gonna go ahead and localize it all the way here. So all my classes can inherit from it. I mean, I could like have a parent class and do that, but I feel like my seed will always remain the same though if I do that. Maybe I go with a bunch of control Z's. Okay, this is a tricky part, guys. Hold up, let's see. So key, event. Maybe inside my dice, I do have my file paths here. Depending on my seed. Oh, I see. Okay, my dices class does inherit all the public content. Let's say from my randoms class. There we go. Now my dices class inherits from my randomness class. So my dice should be having all the public content. Okay, let's go ahead and copy these, delete this from here. This is my dice textures vector. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this inside of my randomness class. I might go with something like protected data members. Let's paste them here. Now I have access to all my dice's parameters. Let's go ahead and remove my rect from here. Okay, now depending on my roles, so I push back my file paths inside of my vector, and then I added a structure as well to destroy my file paths. I have a method called display dice. Now for my display dices method, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. So I go with a for loop for every integer of I, for everything in my vector. If my rolling, I'm gonna go ahead and get my texture here first. Maybe delete this part, I don't know. I'm gonna go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my rolling variable is equal to 1. I'm gonna go ahead and display my dice at index of 1. Okay, let's see. I might go with something like my dice at index of 0. Okay, I want to display my dice at index of 0. Hold on guys, let me go with a bunch of control Z's real quick. I want to get my Rex's positions. There we go. Okay, my x-axis is going to be there. My y-axis, I'm going to be changing it later on. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this part. So let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, let's remove this as well. Now I'm going to go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my rolling is equal to 1. Then I want to go ahead and display my dice at index of 0. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that here. Dice texture at index of 0 is going to be displayed on my window. Do I want to use switches for this? But we can't use switches for comparison. Maybe I'll just use a bunch of if and else if a pair of parentheses, if my rolling is equal to something like 2. Okay, hiring Meet Kotari, is that I pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Bro, what is his accent, guys? I do ask myself that as well. Okay, if my rolling equals to 2, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I didn't want to run my code. My bad, guys. There we go. I want to go ahead and display my dice at index of 1. My dice texture. In my constructor, my dice texture. Wait, I don't have an index of 0. I gotta go with something like 1. I gotta go with something like 2. Let's go ahead and copy my else and paste it for like 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is a lot of repetition. Guys, I'm like really positive that I wouldn't even need to add these so many times. Let's go with something like 4. Let's go with something like 5. And let's go with something like 6. Let's change that to be 6. Let's change that to be 5. Let's change that to be something like 4. Let's change that to be something like 3. And that's pretty much it. Else I don't want to display anything. Okay, and then let's go with something like a else clause, a pair of curly braces. I'm just gonna be returning, which means ending my. This is a void method. I don't gotta return anything. Do I have like a fun PNG? Let's go with Control-Shift-L. Guys, do I have like a question mark PNG? That would make this really fun to actually play. Because I might go with something like question mark. I have dice. I have drops. I have fonts. I don't need fonts. Health bar, meals, NPC, potions, projectiles, scoreboard, traps. I might go with something like traps. Else I want to display my bomb.png. Okay, hold up guys, let's go with the Control-Z real quick. Copy this part. Let's go with Control-Z. I want to go ahead and copy that, paste this here. I might go ahead and display my bomb.png. My texture. I don't have a texture. I might not do that right now. Let's go ahead and delete this. There we go. Okay, great work. Honestly, I appreciate you, creative. That actually means the world to me, guys. But I'm pretty sure there might be an easier way to do this. I used like a bunch of if-else-ifs. That said, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Alright guys, I forgot to add a parameter down here. Let's go ahead and exit that, scroll all the way down here. Okay, so I don't have this entire method anymore. What was the method that I gotta go ahead and display? Let's scroll all the way up here. So I gotta go with my display dice method. And then is there any other method? So I have a method called roll. Did I go ahead and display my roll method? So I have my roll method. Then under my graphics, I'm gonna go with something like my dice dot the display dices method. Now my display dices method requires three parameters. It requires a render parameter, it requires a scale, which in this case I'm going to be setting it to be 0.1, and it requires a, let's say, something like x-axis. My x-axis might be something like, maybe I might not still want to add x-axis. I could go with something like 100, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. I get my window here. Okay, if I were to hit enter, I don't see my dice being displayed on my window. Okay, the reason for that could be, let's scroll all the way up here. When I do actually create my dices method and I add a bunch of if-else ifs here, I have my position for my rect. Then why does my dice not actually display on my window? Is my file path wrong? Dice at index of 1. Let's see. This part shouldn't be that hard anymore, actually. I get my dice's texture. Okay, so I get my dice's texture. Dice at index of I. Should I go with dice at index of I? If rolling, depending on what I rolled up there, I gotta go ahead and paste these here. But I don't see anything in my window. It could be because, oh, I see. Okay, it's probably because I did not actually add a, no, I can't add a event type here. Hold on, guys, I have two separate classes. So I inherit all the public content from my random class, but I don't actually continue my break here. My rect is not the same as this rect as well. Guys, I think this is a really silly mistake. I gotta like figure this out really quick. Can I use my engine? I have my seed up there, but I just can't display my stuff on my window. So for every integer of I which equals to 0, I went with 0 here. Dice.texture. Okay, so what am I actually trying to do here? Let me think real quick. For all these stuff inside of my dice texture, that should be having all my 6 file paths. Okay, for every integer of I. Should I go with something like I plus 1? Because like, I don't have an index of 0 here. So I might go with something like I plus 1. Now if I were to Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Okay, in my window, I got a runtime error. I remember getting this error last stream as well, so I should know how to fix this part. Okay, it's probably the I plus 1 for my size. I increment my I by 1. I go with a random x-axis. Could it be because I set my x-axis wrong? That could be it. If my rolling equals to 1, if I rolled a 1, then I do something. I display my rolling on my console. Okay, so if my rolling is 1, I want to display this. If it's 2, I want to display that. If it's 3, I want to display that. Could it be because my rolling was not 1? Hold up, guys. This might be a silly mistake up here. Let's get my console here, my window here. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay, I did not roll 1. Let's hit enter a bunch of times. How haven't I rolled a 1 till now? Let's hit enter. Okay, I did roll a 1 twice, but nothing displays on my window. Maybe I go with something like a control C, copy that. Let's get some /chat GPT here. Do I have a constructor? Okay, I mean my dices class does have a constructor. Let me scroll all the way up here to my dices class. My constructor has a renderer parameter. My method has it as well. Okay, let's get some /chat GPT up here real quick. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with something like shift enter and type something like, say, I feel like I messed up question mark. I think that it should have been correct because Depending on my role, I want to display my dice's PNG on my window. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe Sensei's thinking, guys. Okay, while Sensei thinks, let me go ahead and drink some water. Maybe not. So, okay, Sensei puts the jog down. This was important, and yes, you did mess up, but in a smart way. You're thinking in the right direction, but 3 quiet logic traps are working against you. First and most deadly problem, you're rolling on the wrong object. Rolling lives inside random, dice inherits from random, but main function you call random.roll, not dice.roll. So what happens, random rolling changes, dice rolling stays 0 forever, display dice. Okay, inherits means shared cultures, not shared instances. Right now your dice is starting into void waiting for a roll, never arrives. Second problem, your dice texture indices are wrong. You load texture like this for every integer of I, which equals to 1. That gives you 5 textures, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but later you do this, dice at index of 6, that does not exist. Even dice texture 5 is out of bounds. Your PNGs are numbered like dice spaces for the integer of I, which equals to 0. My I is less than. Okay. And then big concept, you just ran into this goal statement. Must live in one place. Input random. Okay, I see. That said, let's scroll all the way down. Apparently, I feel like my file path stuff does look kind of correct up here. If it's not, then I might change it later. While it's less than 6, it starts at 1, it's less than 6. The accent is so cringe. What the hell, guys? Guys, actually, it does make sense. Okay, that's it. Now let's scroll all the way down here. I might actually change my random.roll to be something like dice.roll. This is one thing that did make sense that time as well. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, I get my window here. Whoops, hold up guys, there we go. Okay, if I did something like enter. At least a dice displayed on my window, guys. Okay, but I got a runtime error. Expression subscript. Probably the next thing that I was going to load was going to be 5. It was 6. 6 is out of bounds. Honestly, saying you're working on very newbie project will make good shit. You can make GTA 6. Guys, making GTA 6 is kind of crazy, but I do appreciate you. Mitokuri, is that how you pronounce your name? Bro's ChatGPT conversation is cringy as him. Sensei Sarah, that actually does make sense, guys. That's it. Let me scroll all the way up here. Now, I'm just going to be changing this from my constructor to be something like for every integer of I, which equals to 0. While my I is less than 6 instead of 6. While my I, hold up guys, did I like have my I somewhere else? Okay, maybe not. I think it was something like this. If I did Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. My I should not be out of bounds anymore. 6 should actually, but not 5. So if I did something like enter, I get 3, I get 4, I get 2, I get 5, I get. Okay, that actually does work. Now, I'm pretty sure I rolled a 6, right? Did I? I rolled a 6. 6 is out of bounds. So while it's less than or equal to 6, let's hit Control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens again. Now, I should be able to roll dices in my screen. So I go all the way here, get my window and console. Let's spam enter. Did I roll a 6? I can roll a 6 as well now. Okay, perfect. That actually fixes almost everything. All I gotta do is just change my position to be a bit lower. So I'm gonna go ahead and change my dice's y-axis to be something like 500. If I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here and I get my window here. Let's hit something like enter. I get it too. I want to get this a bit higher to the left, so like maybe 400 and to the left. So I'm gonna go with something like 400. Okay, and then this is going to be something like 50. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and remove my parameter of floating point x because I might not need that anymore. There we go. Now let's scroll all the way down here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my x-axis. So there we go. If I did Control S to save the code now and run the command, let's see what happens. I won't be getting my console anymore. I'm just going to get my window. If I did something like enter, that is good. Maybe 450 would be good. I know this is magic numbers, guys, but I feel like I like it when it like looks a bit good. I'm going to change that to be something like 450. Hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Okay, so I get my window back here. Let's go ahead and hit enter. I want to go higher. So the higher I go, it increases. So I was at maybe 400. I don't know, guys. I'll set this to be something like 80. And then let's set this to be something like 400. Okay, if I hit Control S, now let's see what happens. Okay, so I get my console here. Let's hit something like enter. There we go. That's good. So 80 and 400 is the sweet spot, guys. But there's a tiny problem. When I hit 5, I gotta like fix my 5s as PNG. I did not get a 5 till now. Is it just my luck, guys? There we go. My 5 is kind of puny. I gotta like change that stuff up. Okay, make the dice a bit bigger, just a bit. Honestly, I could. Let's go all the way up here till my texture's size. Okay, let's say I'm gonna change it to something like 0.9. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Oh wait, my bad, guys. I actually changed my scoreboard's size. Okay, wait, let's go with Control Z real quick. So let's go with something like Control C. 0.6. There we go. Now my display dice, I'm going to change my dice to be something like 4. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. I get my console, I get my window. If I hit enter, that's a massive dice, guys. I think 4 is like too big. Let's change this to be something like 2. If I would hit Control S to save the code and run the command. I mean, I did like the one size though. That was kind of good. It was kind of like, I mean, this isn't bad, but then I feel like I'm just lazy to change the positions. That's it. I do like how one looks as well. Because like if I were to get this here and now it hit something like enter, this does not look bad because I want to keep a track of my score like under my dice here, like current score for enemy, and this is going to be my total score. That's going to have like a health bar up here. If my player is leading, my health bar for my player goes up. If my enemy is leading, my player's health bar goes down, but my enemy's is increased. If that makes any sense, guys. That's let's see, at least I got some progress up here. Now this is display dice for my player. I want to display a dice for my enemy as well every time I hit enter. For how long are you going to fake this accent? Guys, fake this accent is kind of crazy. That's let's see, maybe I go ahead and copy my display dice method from here. So let's go ahead and copy that. Wait, my method starts there. It's going to go ahead and end all the way here. Let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste this here. This is going to be for my enemy now. Display enemy dice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change this to be something like display player dice. Okay, so I display my player dice. I display my enemy dice. But now I'm going to be needing another variable. So when I have a variable here of something like roll. This is going to be roll player dice. Okay, I roll my player dice here, but I want to create another method up here as well called something like roll enemy dice. Let's go ahead and paste this here. I'm going to change my player dice to be something like enemy dice because I want to see both my player and my enemy's dice. There we go. Okay, now my roll enemy dice is going to be having a random seed as well. I feel like the seed won't be random. It's going to be the same exact seed as my player, but it might be worth a try, guys. Okay, let's see. I might change my enter to be something like maybe S. Should I change it to be S when my user hits S, then my enemy's dice rolls? Maybe I could go ahead and change this to be something like S. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's see. I go with MT199. Maybe I want to go ahead and create another seed here. I just have one roll method. But in that one roll method, when my player hits enter, my enemy's dice changes. Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and remove this method from here. Hey, bro, I have a question. What question? Asher, is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, let's hit Control Z. Okay, bunch of Control Z's. Now, what is epoch? That actually I had that question too. I did not actually check that. I feel like, let me actually go ahead and check that. Let's go ahead and copy this. I checked what epoch means yesterday. I actually forgot it. It's like time in segments or something. Hold up, guys. Let's go ahead and get this here. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Let's say something like So hold up guys, let me go all the way back here. Let's say something like, what does time.epoch mean in C++? Let's go with something like in C++. Okay, let's see. Because I do know what the count means. I haven't, like, I checked what epoch means yesterday. I somehow forgot maybe. Okay, let's see. In C++, time underscore since underscore epoch is a member function of standard underscore chrono time point that returns the amount of... Guys, let's just shrink this a bit. Okay, that returns the amount of time that has been passed of the epoch of time. Okay, what does epoch mean? Let me actually check. Clock. Okay, that returns... Oh, I see. Okay, epoch. The epoch is the starting reference point of a clock. So apparently epoch is the same as... in Python, there was a time.time function. I think epoch is exactly the same that checks our current time type stuff. For standard chrono system clock, the epoch is 000 UTC on January 1, 1970. The Unix epoch, the other clock steady So basically what epoch does is it gets my exact time right now, my exact date right now, and my exact year right now. It's the same as the time.time function in like Python, but it's for C++ here. Okay, that makes so much sense. I actually appreciate you asking that question, guys. I actually forgot about checking that completely. Let's see. Now, the second thing that I was gonna do, let's scroll all the way up here. This is like a dice. Okay, let's go to my roles this class, display players column. Then I'm gonna do that in a bit. Display board. Okay, I have scoreboard. I have random. Now, let's see. I need two variables here. Where's my role variable? So, okay, it is all the way up here. So I have a rolling variable. Let's go with something like an integer of enemy role variable as well, which is going to start off with 0, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create an integer of something like enemy total variable. Let's go with something like enemy total variable, which is going to start off by being 0 as well, ending with a semicolon. Now, I created one for my player. I want to automatically create one for my enemy as well. So, inside this exact case, I'm going to do something. Dice.pushback. I might need another vector up here. So, I might create another standard vector with a pair of ankle braces that only consist of integers. I'm going to call this to be something like enemy dice. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, once I go ahead and roll something, I want to go ahead and roll something else for my second dice. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. Let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. Whoops. I think I pasted it wrong, guys. I gotta hit Control V to paste. I think I hit Control B back then. This is gonna be my enemy rolling, which is gonna be equal to... Is the spelling correct? Enemy roll. Okay, I mean, I could go with something like enemy rolling equals to 0. There we go. Ending with a semicolon, and then I go ahead and copy my standard console output. Let's go ahead and paste that here. This is going to say something like enemy rolls. This is going to be my enemy rolling variable. I'm going to go with something like enemy rolling. Okay, with another insertion operator. Then I'm going to go with something like enemy dice. Okay, dot the push underscore back function. Okay, why is dice a vector? Honestly, because when my enemy or my player, they actually roll something, I want to store that inside of both my vectors here, because once my game ends, I want to actually display my score, which I am going to be adding up my total for like both my enemy's dice and my player's dice. And depending on who got the most score, like whose luck was the best, who rolled the highest number of wins type stuff. That's next up, let's go ahead and break, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, if I hit Control S to save the code, before I run the command, I want to display my enemies' die as well. So this is why display player die. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I mean, instead of like, okay, actually I do got to copy this because like, I don't want to like clump up everything inside of one method for both my enemy and my player. I already have a method for my enemy here. There we go. Okay, so I have something like a dice texture. These are my dice's texture. I do need that. Okay, I need the positions. My positions' x-axis is not going to be 80. It's going to be something like 200 because I want it to be a bit more towards the left type stuff. That said, if my enemy die rolling, so I'm gonna go with something like let's go with something like enemy rolling. So if my enemy rolling is 1, if my enemy rolled 1, then I'm going to display that. If my enemy rolled 2, going to display that. If my enemy rolled 3, I'm going to display that. Enemy rolled 4, display that. Enemy rolled 5, display that. Lastly, enemy roll displays this. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it. Now, if I would actually copy my display enemy dice, scroll all the way down, this is going to be dice dot, what was the method name? I forgot. Player dice, so that's going to be display of player dice on window. That does require 2 parameters, does not require event. Wait, this is a roll method. Dice.roll. What was my method name called, guys? Hold up, let's scroll all the way up here. It's called roll player dice. Let's copy my roll player dice, scroll all the way down. That doesn't have to be a lot of if-else ifs. Just put rolling in the index. Put rolling in the index. I actually might try that. That was actually genius because I have like a lot of dice rolling. I mean, like I have a lot of if-else ifs. Okay, and then let's go with something like dice dot the roll player dice. Is there one called roll enemy dice? My roll player dice does roll my enemy dice as well. Enemy rolling for enemy. That actually does make sense. Hold up, guys. My mind is actually processing that part. Okay, while I'm processing that, let me check something. I might just have a roll method here. I don't need like something fancy because I roll my player and enemy at the same time here. Let's go under my event loop. This is just going to be my roll player. Okay, that is the only event loop that I need. Instead of display dice, I'm going to go ahead and display my player dice. There we go. And then I want to go ahead and do something like dice.display enemy dice on window. Okay, with a pair of parentheses that does require render parameter and a scale which is going to be 0.1 ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get a error here. Hold up, guys, let's check the error. So it says this redefinition multiplication. Oh, I see. Okay, let's scroll all the way up here. Guys, my bad. I actually did not change my dist's name here. Let's go with something like player dist. Let's go with something like player dist. I'm going to go ahead and copy this part, paste it here. Let's go ahead and change this to be something like enemy dist. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that, paste that here. Now, if I did, let's go ahead and change engine as well. I might go with something like player engine. Okay, let's change this to engine, copy that, paste that here. Let's change this to be something like enemy engine. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and copy my enemy engine from there, paste it all the way here. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console up here, and I get my window here. Let's see if I were to hit enter. I get my players and my enemies' die here. They both roll the exact same thing. I gotta go ahead and change that. Maybe I might need 2 different seeds for that. Okay, let's go ahead and have 2 different seeds. This is gonna be my player seed. Let's change this to be something like player seed. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and copy my player seed here. Just paste it all the way there. Now I need a enemy seed as well. This is gonna be for my second engine. I'm gonna go ahead and copy my Tynesys epoch. Let's go ahead and paste it here. This is gonna be my enemy seed. Okay, here's the thing. Does this make any kind of difference in general? Let's change that to player. Copy that. So let's go ahead and paste it there. And this is going to be my enemy seed. Let's go ahead and paste that here. Okay, here's the thing. Let me try this first. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, I feel like I'm still going to be getting the same exact die rolls. If I hit enter. Wait, I get different die rolls. Never mind, guys. There we go. And I get my rolling stuff here, like player roll this, enemy roll that. Okay, that actually does work perfectly. I thought that I'm going to be getting the same numbers, but now my 2 different seeds equals to 2 different times that the seed has been created. Now let's go ahead and change my position real quick. I want to go ahead and change my enemy dice's position from 200 to be something like 500. If I would hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and get my window up here. Okay, that won't work. You need different seeds. That actually does make sense. Guys, it took me my sweet time to actually figure out that I needed two different seeds. Now, if I did something like enter, I want to go a bit more to the right. So instead of 500, I'm going to change this to be something like 800. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my window here. If I hit enter, okay, 2 to the right. I want this to be something like 700. And guys, I know that these are like magic numbers that I'm using, but I feel it does like look kind of cool. Let's hit something like enter. That looks much better. If I would hit enter, my enemy rolled 5, my player rolled something like 6 if I hit enter again. Guys, there's just one funny fact that why are these PNGs so different? Okay, like my 5 is like puny. Okay, and I get those in my console as well. Now I just gotta work on the total type stuff. Let's see. So now for the total, what is something that I might do? I wanna actually go ahead and add a cap to how many times my player can actually roll. Okay, if my player rolled more than maybe 5 times, I want to go ahead and stop something. I want to go ahead and end this thing. Okay, honestly, instead of just ending it, I want to add some kind of delay between my every roll. Maybe I want to add like a second delay, although I don't know how to add delays up there. Maybe after I roll something, let's see. I might go with something like SDL underscore the delay function. I want to go ahead and add something like 60. I need milliseconds. 5,000 or 1,000 milliseconds is like 1 second. Let's end this with a semicolon. If I did, actually I might go with something like 3,000 milliseconds. Okay, let's hit Control S to save the code and run the command. I hope this works, guys. This is like just me going blindly in here. Because if I would hit enter, I have a 3-second delay, guys. That is a long delay. I might actually change this to be something like 1,000. Now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. You need 2 different seeds. Just run the same. You don't need 2 different seeds. Just run the same engine. Generate a new seed number. Just run the same engine. Generate a new number. I see that actually does make sense. I might try that real quick. What up, guys? Before I do that though, let's go with something like enter. Enter again. Enter again. If I spam, nothing happens by spamming. I do get my numbers on. Okay, that is actually pretty good. Maybe what if I want to go with something like... I mean, 1,000 is pretty good. It's like a tiny gacha. Guys, this actually would be really fun to make like gacha type stuff as well. If you guys don't know what gacha is, like the lottery-based game type stuff. That said, okay, this is pretty good. I did not know that we could use delay like this. Now, once I'm done actually breaking here, I'm going to go ahead and create another case. For my second case, I'm going to go with something like H. I might go with something like, if my SDL3 key is something like H, then I'm going to do something. 33 milliseconds is 30 frames per second. That actually does make sense. Wait, is it 30 frames per second? Because when I do use like 16 milliseconds here, 16 milliseconds is 60 frames per second. Wait, let me check something like, is 16 milliseconds 60 frames per second, question mark? No, 16 milliseconds is not equal to 60 frames per second. Hold up, guys. I think I got the wrong information up here real quick. Okay, 16.7 milliseconds, therefore 16 milliseconds is significantly less than 60 frames. Okay, wait, let me check something like how many milliseconds is 60 FPS. Let's check FPS. 16.7 milliseconds is 60 frames per second. Each frame lasts approximately 16.7. Okay, I mean, it is quite close. I might go with something like 16.7 in that case. Okay, I mean, guys, it is kind of close type stuff. That's it. Let's scroll all the way up here. Let's see. Okay, now what is the next thing that I want to do? Do 1 divided by 60. Okay, let me actually check what is 1 divided by 60. Okay, let's see. So I open a fraction calculator all the way up here. Guys, I'm like really lazy to actually extend my window, so I think this size gotta do. Excuse me, guys, let's go with something like 1 divided by 60. Convert. Okay, advertisement type stuff. 1 divided by 60 is... Okay, guys, what is 1 divided by 60? Hold up, guys, let me actually... I don't even have my calculator. Let me check my phone real quick. Hold on, guys, let me actually go ahead and open the calculator. I might go all the way here. Let's go with something like 1 divided by 60. It says it's 0.0166666, bunch of 6, then a 7. I see. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and open my chat again. There we go. Okay, let's see. So now I do want to display. So if my user hits something like H, then I want to do something. I firstly want to go ahead and display my vector. So firstly, I might go with something like a for loop. Let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my vector name. So I have a dice vector. While my I is less than my dice dot size, I'm going to go ahead and do something. I want to increment my I by 1. There's a calculator on your computer. Bro, there's a calculator. Alright, guys, I actually didn't think of that. Let me actually try opening it. Okay, let's go with something like that. There is a calculator. I actually did not know about this, guys. This is actually kind of weird. Convert 0.01667 to milliseconds. How do we do that? So, do I go with something like 0.01667? Okay, how do you convert it to milliseconds? How to convert decimal to milliseconds. Let's see. Okay, so I just got to divide by a million. So use the formula original number. Hold up, guys, let me actually check this part real quick. So it says original number divided by a million. Okay, times 1,000. Times 1,000. 16.67, I see. Oh, I actually see what you guys mean right now. So technically, what 1 divided by 60 did, so I go with 1 divided by 60. This gives me this number because I want to, like, whatchamacallit, have 60 frames per second. If I multiply this number by 8,000, I get my milliseconds. So 16.666667 milliseconds is 16 frames per second. That was actually genius, guys. I actually buy it. Okay, guys, this was like pretty cool. I did not know about this part. Maybe I go with something like 158. Let me actually write that part down real quick. Alright, guys, let's go with something like 158. Gonna be looking back in the stream. Go with something like 158.00. Alright, guys, that was pretty genius. Now I know how to actually figure out how to convert regular numbers to milliseconds. That said, when I go with a for loop here now, let's see what to do. Firstly, I might go ahead and type something like, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like my enemy total variable. My enemy total variable is gonna go ahead and increase. Maybe I'm just gonna go with my total variable. Is there something called player total? Okay, let's go ahead and remove that. Total is going to be increasing by my dice at index of I, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Then I go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, fix the engine M19937 uses a lot of memory, so using 2 different ones isn't the best. Just use the one twice. Oh, actually, I did forget about that. Okay, let's go ahead and try using 1 seed. So I have a player seed and an enemy seed up here. So, okay, wait, honestly, M19937's engine use a lot of memory. Does it? Because whatchamacallit, I did like cap my memory to just be 1 to 6, so it generates numbers just between 1 and 6. Or does it still generate numbers like in billions, but then I just collect numbers from 1 to 6 type stuff. The end is a 9, and only Jesus saved the world passing away from eternity. Guys, it actually does make sense. Okay, that's it. Just use the 1 twice. Just use the 1. Just use the 1. Like, should I use like my original seed twice? Because I did that before. I get like the same numbers. Just use the 1 twice. By 1, do you mean like the MT19937? I mean, no disrespect, but I'm not sure how your natural accent sounds like. Honestly, this is like my natural accent type stuff. However, when you speak, it occasionally gives the impression that you might be trying to fake your accent. If not, don't mind, please. Honestly, guys, I do get that a lot. Like, it does make sense because depending on how I look versus how I sound, guys, there is like, I don't know, guys, maybe like a huge difference. That's what I can assure you guys, that I'm not faking my accent type stuff. Okay, why is this man spamming Villagen? Okay, let's see. No, resume the same engine. Oh, wait, hold up, maybe Do you like want me to like delete one engine from here? So if I were to delete my MT19937, I might go with something like player engine. Okay, enemy engine. I might go with something like just a regular engine. Let's copy that. Let's paste it here. Paste it here. Okay, now I just use one engine. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let me add a standard console output of something like I'm gonna go with something like player total. Okay, with another insertion operator of my total variable, with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Yes, yes, let's go. Okay, next up, this is going to be a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and add another for loop. Maybe instead of going with another for loop, I could like use that in this for loop itself. I might go with something like enemy total this time. My enemy total, okay, is going to go ahead and increase by my enemy dice. Okay, enemy dice at index of I ending with a semicolon. And then I go ahead and add a standard console output. Let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. There we go. What up, guys? Okay, I'm gonna go with something like enemy total is gonna be, I'm gonna add another insertion operator that says something like enemy total. Enemy. Okay, I'm gonna go with something like enemy total with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Why don't sleep? Honestly, guys, it is like almost, I mean, it is like 3 p.m. So I think I just woke up like, I think 3 hours ago type stuff, or 3 to 4 hours ago. That said, engine is skipped in case label. Okay, initialization of enemy dist is skipped by case label. Hold on, guys. So I have two different engines up here. Okay, so I have enemy dist that has engine, enemy rolling, regular rolling. Okay, initialization of engine is skipped by case label. Argument doubled. Hold up, guys. Where's the error up here? Initialization of enemy dist is skipped by case label. Is skipped by case label. Do I like really need two different engines for this? Because I go ahead and create one engine for enemy dist, for player dist. Okay, what if I actually go ahead and copy this? And then let's paste it all the way here. Let's check if this actually fixes the part. This is going to be something like player seed. I'm going to go ahead and change this. Okay, maybe I changed this to be something like player engine. I mean, one engine did sound kind of cool. I gotta like check how to use like one engine for this part. And then I'm going to go ahead and change this to be something like enemy engine. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Okay, now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get an error here again. Wait, did I like actually make a silly mistake up here? Enemy dist, that is going to be my enemy engine. Player dist, player engine. Okay, everything should be correct up here. So this is my player seed. Oh, I see. I gotta go with my enemy seed. Let's go with something like enemy seed. Now if I did Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Okay, I did not get my console. Okay, am I making a really silly mistake? Let me think this really through, guys. Hold up, give me a sec. So there we go. Okay, now let's think this through. So apparently I create two seeds up here. So I have a seed for my player and I have a seed for my enemy. I go ahead and check return. If my user hits return, I use the MT19937 extension that generates a lot of numbers. This has a parameter of my seed. I create a uniform that limits my seeds. And then my rolling variable is going to be equal to my player dist. My enemy rolling variable is going to be equal to my enemy dist. It's correct, to be honest. Where did I like mess up here? Hold up, maybe I go ahead and like copy this part. So let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, let's go with a bunch of Control Z's. Because I'm positive there's like nothing wrong up here. Okay, enemy engine. Now let's go ahead and paste this here. If I did Control S to save the code, let's see what happens. Maybe I delete the extra space. Now if I did Control S to save the code, let's see what happens. So I do get this. So it's apparently not my engine's fault. Oh guys, I'm really stupid. Hold up, let's go with a bunch of Control Shift Z's. Maybe let's go with Control Z. Can you guys guess where I messed up here? Okay, guys, it is kind of stupid. Hold on, let's go with Control Shift Z. Oh, I gotta go ahead and add my case again. Let's go ahead and add a case with a parentheses. My case is gonna check if my SDL's key is something like H. If it is, then I'm gonna do something. Guys, can you guys like actually give me some random guessing in chat as to where I messed up? Let's go with something like if a prof. Did I add a if statement? Sure, I forgot. I think I added an index-based for loop, so let's go ahead and maybe paste this part here. There we go. So now, technically where I actually messed up was once we're done with our case, we gotta add breaks. I forgot to add my break. Let's go with something like break. Okay, standard random device, standard gen, distribution 6. Okay guys, I think it's harder to like actually look that part in like chat. But I think it was just my break. That was kind of silly. I can just go ahead and use one engine to do everything up here. Let's go ahead and delete this part. I'm going to be using my player engine. Let's go with something like my player engine. Player engine. Okay guys, that was a really silly mistake. I keep forgetting my breaks. I have a red underline. Okay, I'm missing some. Guys, I have so many red underlines here because I gotta go ahead and change my rolling to be my player rolling or continue. I could do continue as well. Let's go with something like player rolling. Wait, is it called rolling? Okay, it is called rolling. Let's copy my rolling real quick. Let's scroll all the way down here. My random has a small error up here. Okay guys, everything was going good. I just had to add a break back then. But now, did I like change my class's name? It's called random. That is random as well. Am I missing a pair of curly braces? There we go. I was missing a pair of curly braces. I don't even need multiple. You don't even need multiple uniform integer distributions either, don't I? Actually, it does actually make sense. Alright guys, I might actually try that, but first I want to go ahead and complete my for loop here real quick. Once I'm done with for loop, I go ahead and break type stuff. Okay, now let's scroll all the way down. I have my rolling done. I have my enemy rolling done as well. So if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get an error again. It says initialization of player engine is skipped by case label. It's skipped by case label. I'm assuming those are like my match cases or like my switches. I have a case up here, so I have. Let me see this part really carefully, guys. I have my player engine, which is okay. I have my player seed. I can just use my player seed. I might not need my enemy seed up here, and then I go with player dist. Okay, I have 1/6. I have my enemy dist, which is going to be my player engine, and then I add a standard console output of rolling. And then I break here as well. Okay, wait, let me hit Control S to save the code and run the command again. I still get an error. Maybe I go with something like debugging. Let's go with something like F5. Let's spam F5, guys. Let's go with something like F5. Okay, I think that F5 just results in one error every single time. That's it. Maybe I go with something like Control C, copy that. Let's get sensei slash chat GPT here. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with shift enter and say something like sensei, I feel like I messed up question mark. Everything worked. Let's go with something like worked perfectly when I added. Before I do ask sensei slash chat GPT, I do want to try one thing though. If I were to scroll all the way up here, let's see. When I create my engines, what if I were to actually create a separate engine? I know this won't make a difference because like it did like work before. I'm going to go with something like MT19937. This is going to be called something like enemy engine with a pair of parentheses that has a parameter of my enemy seed. Let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste this here for my second seed. This is going to be my enemy seed. I'm going to go ahead and add a parameter of my enemy seed up here. Let's go ahead and copy that. Go with Control C. Paste my enemy seed here. MT19937. There we go. Let's end this with a semicolon. It has my enemy seed as a parameter. Then I go with something like uniform player engine. I'm going to go with something like my enemy engine. I highly doubt this is going to make a difference, but it's worth a try. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, I still get the same exact error. So let's go with Control A, Control C, copy that, get sensei slash chat GPT up here. Let's go with Control A, Control V. Go with Shift Enter and say something like sensei, I feel like I messed up question mark. It was working perfectly. I could see slash change both my enemy and player dices with randomly, but when I added my second case of H, I get a error. Do you use Visual Studio Code or Google Anti-Gravity? Honestly, I use like Visual Studio 2022, not like Visual Studio Code. That's it. Sensei stares at the code. Yes, you messed up, but this time it's real game bug, not a syntax baby mistake. The good news, your random dice works. The bad news, you introduced logic bomb with H. Let's defuse it calmly before it blows up in your stream. The actual error, this is the code. This line is silent killer dot pushback rolling. Okay, read it again. You just rolled. Okay, push the player to wait a minute, guys. Hold up, let's scroll all the way up. When I go with a pushback, where do I go with a pushback? So I go with enemy dice dot pushback. Okay, I went with enemy. Guys, let me actually think this really hard. I have a player pushback, okay. Rolling, this has got to be enemy rolling. There we go, I was rolling the wrong thing. Could that be the mistake here? My enemy rolling was empty, so there is nothing to be added inside my enemy rollings' vector. Now I go with something like enemy dice here. Enemy rolling is 0. There we go, my enemy dice was empty all along, so nothing was being displayed. Now, I mean, it would have worked if I added an if statement to check only if my vector is not empty, so I could go with something like if paper of parentheses. If not, dice dot empty if my dice is not empty, or and so let's go with something like and, not, let's say something like and not enemy dice dot empty if my player dice is not empty or my enemy dice is not empty. Then I want to go ahead and paste this. Let's go ahead and copy that, delete this from here. Whoops, let's go ahead and paste this here. There we go. Try wipe coding. I mean, some of you guys do say that I do wipe code right now as well, because like I do ask sensei slash chat GPT if I make mistakes and like how do I fix that type stuff, because I haven't like worked on this stuff before. Although I don't like the idea of just wipe coding, because I do want to like actually write the code myself, and eventually when I am pretty good with my logic and stuff, I do want to work on this stuff on my own type stuff. That said, let's go ahead and paste all this here. Okay, maybe this was not the error all along, guys. Okay, let's see. Let's go with Control Shift Z. Let's get sensei slash chat GPT back here. I gotta read the whole thing. Boom. If enemy dice size is less than dice size, out of bound access, that's your error. C++ doesn't forgive that. It just stabs you quietly. Dice. Second problem, your total resets every time you press H. Total plus equals to dice without resetting them. So total grows radioactive. Total grows like a radioactive mushroom. That's not sum, that's double. Third problem, SDL3 delay. This line inside your event is this line is inside your event handler. Your entire game freezes, input hangs, render stalls. Okay, fourth loop, but don't. Guys, I feel like I'm starving kind of bad to actually figure this out, but I want to figure this before I leave. Okay, you only pushed values, no indexing to vectors. You assume both vectors align. They didn't. C++ finished you. This is random failure, big design. Maybe I go ahead and hit Control S to save the code. Run the command. I want to see my error. Let's go ahead and copy my error, and then let's go ahead and argument double float. Okay, let's get sensei slash chat GPT up here. Let's go ahead and paste this and say something like, "What up, guys? Let's go with bunch of Control C's. Maybe go with Control A, delete everything, paste it here." Go with Shift Enter and say something like, "Sensei, I get this error." Because I don't think the stuff that Sensei said was actually the real mistake. Guys, I cannot read the whole stuff. I'm starving really bad. Okay, the error means initialization skipped by case label. C++ is saying I see you declared a variable, but another case can jump past it, so I refuse to compile. Inside your switch case, okay, I do this stuff, uses other logic. Here's the problem. Case H can jump past game engine. That means the variable might be skipped. C++ refuses to allow that. It's not optional. It's how C++ protects memory safety. Your rule just learned important. You may not declare variables inside a case unless you wrap that case. I think I see. Hold up, guys. I think I see where I messed up here. Apparently, what if I did not actually add a case of H here? I want to change my total in general. So before I break up here, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Guys, I'm starving really bad right now. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and paste a for loop up here. Let's go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like for every integer of I, which equals to 0, while my I is less than my vector's size. I could go with any vector. It wouldn't make a big of a difference. What vector do I want to go with? I might go with something like my dice's vector. Then I want to go ahead and do something. I want to dot size. I want to go ahead and increment my I by 1. So I'm going to go with something like I++. And then I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces. Wait, what's this part that I was actually doing? I think I kind of forgot, guys. Okay, maybe I want to go with something like your case needs a pair of curly braces around it. My case. Did it really? Because like switches needs pair of curly braces, but case, I don't think they need a pair of curly braces. Does it though? Okay, that's it, guys. Maybe I can't think properly because I'm kind of starving as well right now. That said, let me just complete this part real quick. So what is the thing that I might need here? I actually do know. I can't think right now. Let's copy my rolling variable. Wait, not rolling, my total variable. I'm going to go with something like my total is going to be increasing by, let's say, something like my dice at index of I, ending with a semicolon. Then I want to go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like player total. Let's go with something like player total is going to be another insertion operator of my total variable with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Then just because I'm lazy, I'm going to go ahead and copy this part, paste it here. I'm going to change my total to be something like my enemy total. What up, guys? This is going to be something like enemy total. There we go. I'm going to change that to be something like enemy total. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy my enemy total here. Let's go ahead and paste that here. Let's change player to be enemy. Oops, hold up, guys. Let's copy that. Let's paste it here. Let's change player to be something like enemy. There we go. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. I get my window here. Okay, I need my console all the way up here. My window can be all the way up here. Now, if I were to hit something like enter, 5 and 3. Okay, so enemy rolled 3, player rolled 5. If I hit enter again, 3 and 1. Player total 10, enemy total 10 as well. Both totals are the same. Was it a stroke of luck, guys? Player total, hold up, guys, I think I pressed a bunch of times. Player total 141, enemy total 140, so it does change. Okay, at least that part worked. Now I just got to display it on my window type stuff. That I might actually do next stream, because this stream I am kind of starving. What game? Honestly, it is like a dice roller program type stuff. That's let's go with Control C, copy this, get some /chat GP up here. Maybe I want to remove my delay. I'll try that next stream, guys. I'm really starving this stream. You can put a pair of parentheses around anything to put your stuff in the same scope. I didn't actually know that. Wait, hold up. In that case, let's go all the way right here. Do you mean like I could even add a pair of curly braces right here? And then let's go ahead and end my pair of curly braces all the way here. That does actually make sense as well. Around the case puts that into scope. Okay, we'll fix error with the variable declarations. That actually does make sense. I might actually like work on this part next stream as well, because if I could use a pair of curly braces, that would make it much more readable type stuff. That's it. Let's go with Control C, copy that, get some /chat GPT here, paste it, go with Shift Enter and see something like sensei. It worked! Exclamation. Okay, let's go with something like worked! Exclamation. That said, I don't take credit for that part because I did get help. Although I will be working, let's go with something like working on the rest and next stream because this stream I am kinda hungry, so I might end the stream right now. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, listen up, you legendary pupil. Today you face the Switch Demon and won. You learned something. Every C++ coder hits against the terrifying initialization skipped by case monster and you didn't run, you fixed it. For the viewers, every bug is a teacher, every fix is a victory. Today we learned that C++ doesn't care if you're hungry, it cares if you're careless. So your sensei is said by Soraya sensei. We said fuel and know that next stream we go even deeper. Dice rolling is just the beginning. The real game is your mind. Hugs, headpats, and a big you did good for surviving the C++ battle, guys. That did not make me blush. Now, go get that food before you code yourself into a wall. That does actually make sense because I'm starving really bad. All I ate today morning was just some oats. That's it. Let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Liking helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on TikTok and Instagram as well if I did meet the followers requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content there and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me. The link is going to be in the description. And also join my Discord server. That's where many of you guys do ask me for my roadmap type stuff, and I give it to you guys there. I should talk slow, guys. And also, I talk to you guys in general in my Discord server, and we did hit like 100 members. I do appreciate you guys so much for that. That actually means the world to me. That said, I think I got a comment. So let's see. It's called a block scope. All declared variables inside the scope aren't accessible outside that scope. I see, that actually does make sense. I might work more on that next stream. That said, I'll catch you guys next. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.